G'day people, it's CPAP Banner again. Now, I've been watching the news over the last couple of months, as normal, reading the papers, as I normally do, and I'm going to comment about the federal government, the minority Labor federal government, who wants to introduce or force the tobacco companies to manufacture their products, the tobacco companies I'm talking about, and place them in plain packaging. The reality is, and the government keeps getting told this, it doesn't matter what the packaging looks like on the outside, as the smokers are more interested in what's inside the package, the cigarettes and the tobacco, so to speak. And this legislation that the Australian government wants to put in place while they roll a cigarette will do absolutely nothing. Surprise, surprise. Again, we have legislation on the run, policies on the run. Really, there's the plain package as it is now, right? Here it is. A packet of tobacco, company name, brand and so forth, has the warnings on it, as per normal, in Australia. That's fine, okay. But it could be just as much wrapped in a plastic bag as well, because it's not the packaging, it could be plain or in a plastic bag or whatever, it's what's inside. It's tobacco. Now, what does our brilliant federal government do? Our minority government comes out and says that we care for Australians and we want to discourage people from smoking. Really? If you want to discourage people from smoking, why don't you prohibition it? Why don't you ban it? If you're that serious, instead of being hypocritical. Oh, would that mean you'd miss out on all that lovely taxation and revenue that you've got on tobacco products? It's like the federal government wanted to stop binge drinking, but instead of doing education on it, they increased the revenue on taxation revenue on alcohol pops, on pre-mixed drinks. Didn't stop the binge drinking because people had binge drank on alcohol pops, went to the bottle shops and whatever and bought themselves a bottle of spirits like whiskey or rum or gin or vodka and mixed their own with a bottle of soft drink. So, of course, the sales on that type of alcohol increased. Did it fix the binge drinking? No, didn't do a damn thing except raise revenue. Did we have a reduction in people binge drinking, causing social problems throughout Australia? No, it didn't. Not unless you consider what the police did a couple of weeks ago in all states, including that in New Zealand, and had a police operation where they targeted problem areas in the cities about binge drinking and so forth in all Australian cities and that, and also in New Zealand. So the revenue grab for the binge drinkers' alcohol pops, and that's all it was. Knee-jerk reaction, didn't do anything. Same with this. Knee-jerk reaction, doesn't do anything. Now, don't tell me that smoking cigarettes is bad for my health. Yes, I already know that. Thank you. Thank you for your concern. But this is a lifestyle choice I choose. I smoke cigarettes. I'm well aware of the risks. I'm not a child. I do realise this. But when I see legislation that comes out and doesn't do anything, then I'll say so. The same with the alco pops. It was legislation on the run, policy on the run. How would you say? It's like a plastic bag full of air. Looks great on the outside, fantastic. No guts. Nothing. It's just full of air. You know, looks great, fantastic. Plastic bag, but nothing inside. Just more rubbish. But what it does tell me is that instead of being serious about binge drinking, tobacco and so forth, it's just the federal government wants the nanny status more. You could say the same about the current federal government wants to bring in something that Wilkie from Tasmania brought up, and that's a card system for problem gamblers who play poker machines, and limit the amount of money that they nominate that they can afford to lose on this card. What is the point when, besides poker machines, problem gamblers have got access to horse racing, harness racing, the trots, whatever you want to call it, the dogs, casinos, Santa bet, TAB bet, phone bet, internet gambling. You know, how are you going to stop the gambling? You can't. But you want to legislate, and any state, the others in Australia, because a certain amount of people in Australia have problems with gambling, you want to legislate and nanny state the rest of us. Suddenly it becomes not an idealism to care for the Australian people, but now it's a nanny state idea. We are to become our own brother's keepers. How about taking responsibility for one's own actions? Now, how about that idea? That we take responsibility for our own actions. We don't need the federal or state or governments to tell us. We don't need organisations. We keep telling governments that, one, we take responsibility for our own actions and inactions. Do we need a federal or state government to nanny status? By all means, come out with programs that make sense. Come out and tell us that, yeah, smoking is good, not good for your health. By all means, have the advertisement on there that smoking is harmful to your health. Have the advertising out there at the heels of indulgence of alcohol. Have all that. Have all the education. Fine. Do all that. Even tell us about the problem gambling addiction. But at the end of the day, it's ultimately the individual's choice whether they do any of that. Whether they stop smoking or continue to smoke, or they continue to drink or not to drink, or continue to gamble or not to gamble. It's down to the individual, not up to governments to tell us one way or the other, and produce or introduce legislation that is pointless and ridiculous. Stop nanny stating us. Anyway, nice speaking to you. Have a good night. Have a good day. Bye now.